Bible says there's a liar. The Bible says there's this demonic spiritual entity that's a roaring lion seeking for someone to devour. So these voices that you're gonna hear in your mind, you think they might be yours, you think they might be your friends, but there's a spiritual enemy playing. And when you put all of this together in this culture, you got kids who are hearing this voice in their head. I'm worthless. I'm no good. The enemy is playing off on this in huge ways.
I love this lake. I love to swim. It is a huge part of my life. Sometimes what we will do is we'll start over here, me and my sister, and we'll swim all the way over there to the bridge, which that's where the bridge is where we jumped off. I had a really rough childhood growing up, and my sister wasn't really old enough to understand what was going on. I have been through mental abuse. I have been through legitimate abuse. I have been through sexual abuse. Kind of made a promise to myself that I would never let my sister feel like that, feel the ways that I felt as I was a kid. When my sister comes home and, is upset, it affects me because I tell my sister I know that feeling, and she always tells me I don't have any friends, no one likes me, and I'm like, no, people like you. You just have to find the right people. The friends that I had chosen when I first moved here, it was nice at first because I didn't have any friends growing up, so I was like, I'm making friends. But when I really got into the friendship, I realized that I didn't choose the right friends. I had actually gotten into a fist fight with this girl. This girl had told me that no one cared about me, no one would ever love me, my parents hated me, and that I deserved to not be here. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I don't. I did have a feeling that my mom hated me and that my parents didn't want anything to do with me, my brother didn't want anything to do with me, and I will never in my life forget that day of how terrible of a person that I felt. And I had ended up trying to take my life. I ended up going into the hospital and I was there for a while, and I got out and I told my mom how sorry I was for what I did because I didn't understand at the time how much it had actually affected people until I lost my best friend and she died, and I understand the grief and the pain of what it was like to lose someone that way. I met Grayson in the beginning of 7th grade, I'm pretty sure, and she was new to our school, and I had introduced myself. She was a new kid, and I was like, you can come stay with me and my friends. Over those years, 7th grade and then 8th grade a little bit, I got to know her. Grayson was one of those people where you never forget. No matter what could happen, no matter what could be said, you will never forget the person that they were. And Grayson was not like anybody else. She was the sweetest person I have ever met in my entire life. If someone made her mad, she shrugged it off and was like, it's okay. She was very kind, a very kind-hearted person, and in my opinion, it sucks that the saddest people sometimes show the happiest emotions. A mutual friend that we had said that she had found her one day and she had cuts all over her arms and kind of didn't know what to do. Grayson was like, do not tell. I wish I would have known, I wish I would have noticed. And for a long time, I resented myself for that. I never wanted Grayson to feel like she could never come to me or talk to me. And I had to come to peace with myself and kind of just say, that's not my fault. That's nobody else's fault. When you're in that moment, you don't think about anyone but yourself, and you don't think of how it's going to affect the world or people who actually care about you. Going through that after she had passed away, I did feel very suicidal after, and I told my mom it was really hard. And my mom sat down with me and she told me, Bailey, you really, really need to think of how the feeling that you felt when you found out that she did it. And I did. I took it into consideration, and I was like, wow, like, it does hurt really bad. I would never, ever, ever want my family to feel like that, or my family to question what they did wrong, or my friends to question what they did wrong. The first letter that I'd ever written her said, why? Why couldn't I have helped you? Why didn't you talk to anyone? Why didn't you ask for help? And writing that letter, I was writing it out of anger and frustration because I didn't know why she did it. I didn't know what I could have done to help her. And the more of the letters I wrote, the more relaxed I got and was like, you know, I can't change that she's gone. No one can, and no one in the world can. I still write her letters on every 21st of the month. It's crazy to be writing these letters to her and not being able to say them to her. I have written 13 letters, and I will still write these letters to her because who knows, maybe next 21st could be a terrible day and I'll need her. I'll need to write her this letter and be like, hey, I had a really crappy day and I really wish that you were here to give me a hug or, you know, give me that advice. She told me, the worst things in life are the things that you can't change, but the best things in life are the ones that you can. You can't go back and change the stupid things that I've done. I can't. But what I can change is my future, what I do with my life, what I do with my spare time, and the good things that I'm doing. I could pout over this and cry about it my whole life and not do anything, not go anywhere, and just be so depressed about it. But is that really what she would want? I made a promise to myself and to her that I would live for her. I would do things that would make her proud, and silly things to maybe remember how she would laugh. You know, there are times still where I'm like, you know, I don't want to be here, but it's all of getting through the day. I always try and wake up with a good attitude. Like, if I'm upset or something, if I go to bed angry, I, you know, wake up and I'm like, today's a different day. You know, I have to put a smile on. You got to get through the day. And it all depends on me. I try and pray. I'm really close with God. It helps me as long as I know that I have someone to help me and guide me through these terrible times that I have had and terrible times I might have later. There is a purpose to life, that it is worth it, and you know, it's okay to have bad days, but when you fall down, you can't stay there forever. Look forward to tomorrow, because today could be a terrible day, but tomorrow could be better. It could be worse, but I hope for the better.
This has to stop. I mean, these kids and parents and anybody needs to realize the magnitude of what a life means. The number one thing is culture, where every student feels like somebody, whether it be just one person, that there's somebody that they can go to and go, I know that I'm loved. I know that somebody cares about me in this building.
You start to get to know people for real, and you see the differences in them, and you're stopping and you're being honest, and that's just a part of the rhythm of life. We're called on to be in relationship with each other, a support system to one another, what God designed it to be.
Nothing matters more than us saving every single human life in our district, in our community. This is our most important mission moving forward.